Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into Advanced Micro Devices, or AMD's proxy statement. It's a bit like reading tea leaves, but instead of vague fortunes, we get a peek at what AMD's board is thinking. And trust me, there are a few surprises brewing, so let's decode. First off, this Schedule 14A filing means AMD is talking directly to its shareholders, asking for their votes on some important decisions. Think of it as AMD asking for permission to make some changes under the hood. The main event is the annual meeting on May 14th. It's going to be a virtual shindig, so no need to polish your shoes. One of the big items is asking shareholders to approve increasing the number of authorized shares from 225 billion to a whopping 4 billion. This is like expanding their financial toolkit, giving them more options for future moves. They also want to limit the liability of some of their officers, which is becoming a more common thing due to Delaware law. It might sound odd, but it helps attract and retain good talent. There's even a proposal from a shareholder, John Cheven, about making it easier to call a special meeting. It's a bit of a tug of war between shareholder power and company management. The proxy statement starts with a handy FAQ covering everything from why you got a notice in the mail to how to vote. It's like the instruction manual for shareholder democracy. It breaks down the difference between being a stockholder of record and a beneficial owner. Basically, if your shares are held by a brokerage, you're a beneficial owner. Don't worry, you still get to vote. The board is giving its recommendations on each item. They're generally in favor of their own proposals and against the shareholder one. It's their playbook after all. It turns out that AMD's directors have also served on other public companies in the past. For example, Michael Gregoire was on the board of Smartsheet until very recently, while Lisa Su was on the board of Cisco Systems. Now let's move on to the important stuff. Corporate governance is like the rule book for how the company is run. It covers things like director independence, risk oversight, and ethics. Speaking of independence, the board has determined that all directors except for the CEO, Lisa Su, are independent. This is important because independent directors are supposed to represent the interests of shareholders, not management. Risk oversight is where the board keeps an eye on the company's biggest potential problems, like business risks, economic risks, and even cybersecurity threats. The board has different committees to handle specific areas, like the Audit and Finance Committee, which keeps an eye on the numbers, and the Compensation Committee, which decides how much executives get paid. Now for a bunch of legalese. There is a general note that any previous SEC fillings doesn't apply to this report, and things mentioned in other reports, like on the website, doesn't apply to this proxy statement. This exhibit shows the proposed changes to the company's charter. If you really want to get into the weeds, you can compare the old version to the new one. Alright, let's talk money, specifically director compensation. Here are the details of what the non-employee directors got paid in 2024. Nora Denzel, the lead independent director, pulled in a total of $444,050, which includes both cash and stock awards. Joseph Householder, the head of the Audit and Finance Committee, got a similar package at $392, similar package at $392 and $650. Next up is information about equity compensation plans. This is where the company lays out the details on how many shares are available for future stock options and other equity-based awards. As of fiscal year end, there were 90 million shares available and 34 million outstanding. It's always good to know who owns the most shares. According to the filing, the Vanguard Group and BlackRock are the top dogs, with roughly 8% and 7% of the company's stock. These big institutional investors have a lot of sway. This section covers the bios of AMD's key executives. It's always good to know who's steering the ship. For example, their CFO, Jean Hu, has over 20 years of experience in the semiconductor industry. Now, the main course of the entire report, this is where we get into how AMD's executives are paid. It's all about attracting and keeping top talent. The compensation committee sets the plan with some outside help. Okay, time for the moment everyone waits for: summary compensation table. Let's dive into this year's numbers. Our CEO Lisa Su had a total compensation package worth nearly $31 million. That's down from last year, when she received around $30.3 million in total compensation. The majority of that comes from stock awards at about $21.7 million. The actual cash part, the salary and bonus combined, are only about $3 million in total compensation. The majority of that comes from stock awards at about $21.7 million. Their CFO received roughly $9 million in total compensation, which includes a $2 million bonus. Let's pivot towards my thoughts and opinions. AMD is in a fascinating position. They're riding the wave of AI, which is great, but competition is fierce. Nvidia is the big dog in that race. Their success depends on not only technological innovation, which is something that is explicitly stated in the report as being an oversight of the Innovation and Technology Committee, technical and market risks, but also smart business moves and careful risk management. I would say their greatest strength right now is probably Lisa Su herself, her leadership style, and the fact that she understands the industry very well. A clear weakness from the report is the dependence on just the few individuals. If anything happens to her, things might not be so rosy as their stock price and market value can immediately change. Overall, AMD seems to be going in the right direction. Thanks for watching Corporate Decoder. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate filings.